Cotton, one of the people we most admire in the United States, Senator for Arkansas. In your own words, Senator, what is going on with these side deals? Are there side deals between Iran and the IAEA?
Hey, Bill, it's great to be on you. Yes, there's no doubt that there are at least two side deals that are still secret between the IAEA and Iran. I went to Vienna last week to have this specific conversation and discuss the inspections regime, and the IAEA said, of course, there are two side agreements. In fact, they even alluded to these agreements in the so-called roadmap between the IAEA and Iran. And this is not just a matter of process. This goes to the heart of the agreement. The first is about the military complex at Parchin, where Iran allegedly did things like test nuclear detonators. And the second goes to Iran's efforts to disclose the past military work they've done in their nuclear program, which is establishing a critical baseline for all future inspections. Without the information in these two side agreements, I don't see how any member of Congress could actually assess the effectiveness of the inspections regime, and therefore I don't see how they could vote for this deal.
Okay, that's what the subject matter is. Do you know what the language is? Does it forbid, for example, inspection at Parchin or establish this pattern you're talking about?
No, Bill, that's exactly the point. The existence of these deals is no longer a secret, but the content remains a secret.
Gotcha.
Now, the administration had not revealed their existence to us until we returned from Vienna and announced that we had learned from the IAEA, who was very forthright and helpful, informative in their briefings, that these two agreements existed. But now we have to know the content if we're going to make a reasoned judgment for the American people about the quality of the inspections regime and therefore the quality of this overall deal.
Let's pursue that a bit longer. Who do you need to who can give you that information? Presumably the administration can. Do you believe it knows the content?
Well, John Kerry has said that he knows the content, but they say that they're not able to provide us the briefing. They say they don't have it in their possession. If you look at Susan Rice's briefing at the White House yesterday, she kind of sounded like Bill Clinton parsing what the definition of is.
Yes,
she said that the administration has provided every document they drafted or that they participated in drafting that they have in their possession. Well, that may be so, but that doesn't mean every document. And U.S. law requires the administration to submit to Congress every document representing any kind of agreement between any party, because the agreements between the IAEA and Iran are so central to this deal.
Let's go back to your investigative work there in Vienna. So they told you there were these side agreements. Did you ask them for copies? Did you ask if you could look at them?
The IAEA said that it's agreements between just the IAEA and Iran, and that they did not have any obligation to provide them to member states of the IAEA or to the other members of the P5+1, and that the other members of the P5+1 were satisfied with that. What Secretary Kerry represented in our briefings yesterday is that they had been briefed on these agreements, and they were comfortable with the process established. That may be fine for Secretary Kerry, but we can't expect 535 members of Congress acting on behalf of 320 Americans just to take Secretary Kerry's word for it.
Right. We're talking to Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas. Senator, do you think soon we'll know the content, what's in there? Because that could be explosive as well. Excuse the pun.
I certainly hope so, although I have to wonder, given the fact that the administration did not first disclose their existence and now continues to refuse to disclose their contents, if the contents are so bad and so damaging, the administration knows that it would end this deal. Because, again, this is not just a matter of process or a matter of administration. What happened at the Parchin military site and how we will inspect it and how Iran will disclose the past military work of their nuclear programs goes to the very heart of this deal and the effectiveness of the inspections regime that the president has assured us is so robust.
Yeah, that's right. So it goes at least two things. Goes to that content you're talking about and whether that is so robust or not. Second, it certainly raises big-time red flag, the question of good faith and good faith dealing and candor from the administration. Correct? Right.
No doubt. And I hope at the public hearings today at the Foreign Relations Committee that Secretary Kerry will be asked a simple question: have they provided all the documents in their possession or that exist to their knowledge? Right. And get that on the record under oath.
Now, this is also a violation of Corker-Cardin, correct? Because all agreements have to be disclosed. Is that correct?
Under the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act, all agreements between any parties, not just between the U.S. and other parties, but any party, must be disclosed to Congress. And until those agreements are disclosed, the 60-day window for Congress to vote, and that prevents the president from lifting sanctions, in my opinion, has not started running yet. And if the president does not submit these agreements, then in my opinion, that window will never begin to run, and therefore he will never be able to lift sanctions and implement this agreement. That's why I think in the end he'll be compelled to obtain and provide these agreements.
It's also worth noting, is it not, that the UN voted on this deal, and they didn't know what was in there. That is, they didn't know about
I think that's a very fair. That's a very fair point, Bill. Obviously, the members of the permanent five members of the Security Council must have known, since they're part of the P5 plus one. But there are another 10 member nations on the Security Council, and it's unclear if they knew that the side agreements even existed, much less what the contents were.
Right. So people are voting here in the blind, and then we're supposed to be taking up deliberations in the Senate and not getting all the information. Can this, Senator Cotton, I must say, I think the first time I talked to you, I was so admiring, as I always am, of your candor and your courage here, but I had my doubts as to what the Senate would do. But with this disclosure, I'm sorry to use the verb again, blow up, but something's going to blow up before too long. Could this blow up the deal? I mean, I think this is a very big deal.
Bill, I can't imagine any member of Congress, Republican or Democrat, voting for this agreement without knowledge of the contents of the side deals between the IAEA and Iran. Again, these are not simple administrative provisions or a question of process. This goes to the heart of our ability to verify whether Iran is building a nuclear bomb. This is not a partisan matter. You know, when Iran and its ayatollahs chant death, go into the streets, they don't chant death to Republicans or death to Democrats. They chant death to America. And I'm deeply, deeply concerned that we have not been provided these documents, and for that matter, that the president went to the United Nations Security Council before he went to the American people through their elected representatives.
Let me ask Senator Cotton what may be a very simple question, maybe just a one-word answer. Do you believe that Secretary Kerry, Secretary Moniz, knowing the content of this agreement, these secret agreements between IAEA and Iran, realized that if this was disclosed, if the content was disclosed, it would destroy the deal?
I think that's very possible, Bill, given the fact that the administration went through great contortions yesterday to try to deny the existence of the deals at all, only to finally acknowledge they exist, but still to conceal their contents. I can only imagine what the contents of these two deals say, that the administration is going to such great lengths to prevent the American people from reviewing them through their elected representatives.
Have you talked to Democrats who are concerned about this? They've got to be, as you said earlier, people in both parties. It's death to America, it's not death to Republicans, that they say over there. People have to be very, at what point does Congress get angry? Its power's been bypassed, its authority's been bypassed on so many things. Now it's insulted and deceived.
Well, Bill, I can tell you that many Democrats are deeply troubled, first by the UN Security Council vote earlier this week that went ahead of the congressional vote, and second, they were very upset yesterday to learn when we got back from our trip to Vienna about these side agreements, and that they were misled about the existence and now continue to be kept in the dark about the nature of the agreements.
Yeah, I mean, I would think they even there that distinction of of magnitude. I mean, you get your nose out of joint. You went to the UN before going to Congress, but then you give the deal to Congress, and it's not the whole deal. I mean, this is just playing snookering the Congress.
Well, yeah, and they may be hiding behind the legalistic distinction that Susan Rice used yesterday. That they provided everything in their possession, or
we've provided everything we have. Yeah, okay.
But Bill, as you point out, the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act doesn't limit things to what's in the U.S. government's possession. It's any agreement between any party. So the administration has an obligation to obtain these agreements and to provide them to Congress. We
have provided everything to you that we have, and the criterion for what we have is what we choose to tell you we have.
And it raises a real question of whether Iran refused to budge on these two critical issues of their past military work and their nuclear program, Parchin, and John Kerry, desperate for a deal simply washed his hands of the matter like Pontius Pilate kicking it to the IAEA, knowing that Iran has obstructed the IAEA for years, and knowing that he would therefore not have possession of these documents and not have to reveal it to Congress.
It kind of kills anytime, anywhere, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, it kind of kicks the heck out of that idea. Senator Cotton, thank you so much. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for finding this out. Thanks for telling the American people, and thanks for staying on the case. We so appreciate you.
Certainly, Bill. Thank you for having me on.
You betcha.